Happy Thursday, Lara. How you doing?
Happy Thursday. I am doing all right this morning or lunchtime. Yeah, how about you? How you doing? Got your coffee in hand?
I'm dragging.
You're
I
ready.
yeah. This is a necessity. It's my lovely covenant mug. Yeah. I made a stupid mistake. If we're talking tales from last night, Lara,
Oh yeah, what's
let's talk about stupid mistakes.
did you make a rookie move
Uh,
last night?
I made a rookie move.
Oh,
I had coffee at 6 o'clock last night, which I don't normally do. But I was like, man, I'm dragging a little bit. I got middle school. I gotta get up. I gotta be, had a cup of coffee, started at 6 o'clock. Yeah, I went to bed at 3 o'clock this morning.
yep. That
Yep,
all just to keep up with the middle schoolers. So you're dragging. I can
rookie.
understand. Rookie move.
Yeah, see, rookie move. You
Oh
you
man.
pull you went a little hard this week too, didn't you?
I did. I did back to back. So our high school ministry is on Tuesday nights. And so I went there to volunteer. And I thought, you know what? I can do this. I stayed a little bit later than I expected. And Wednesday morning I felt like a Mack truck hit me. I am like, oh wait, I gotta do this all over again for middle school. It was Yeah, the back to back is rough. Doing it in your mid 30s is woo wee. Yeah, I realize I am not in my early 20s where I can do this. I can't do the back to back. So yeah, it was. Yeah, I remember one time I drank a Celsius around 5:30, 6 o'clock, like you had your coffee, and that was the worst decision ever. Yeah, I went to bed at 3 a.m. that night as well. I'm like, I'll be fine. I'm young. No, it was, yeah.
So
If you
I
haven't,
don't know if I've mentioned, I don't know if I've said this before, but I have determined that we have a unique genetic disorder as youth pastors, and I call it chronodysmorphia.
yeah.
Have I said
What
this
is that?
before?
I don't know if you
It's
have
it's
on here.
it's time distortion. We're surrounded by 14-year-olds. So we have a 14-year-old sense of humor.
Yep.
I'm 40, so I forget that I'm 48 years old. But because I've done youth ministry so long, my body feels like an 80-year-old.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
30 years of dodgeball and pizza have taken its toll.
Yep.
And the cheapest pizza you can afford, by the way, not just
Little
pizza.
Caesars. I ate
30 years of Little Caesars and Papa John's.
and Papa
It's
John's.
so sad.
Literally Tuesday night, there was Mountain Dew, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't had Mountain Dew in years, and I was just pounding Mountain Dews. So
And then
yeah,
you remembered why you stopped drinking Mountain
yeah,
Dew.
exactly. I'm like, oh, at 1 a.m. I'm like, this is why I stopped drinking Mountain Dew. So
I have a
you know,
I have a volunteer that literally comes into youth group every night with the giant big gulp of Mountain Dew, and I'm like, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you
yeah.
do it.
Oh
And
yeah.
he's my age. Like
Oh
he's not a
goodness.
puppy.
Whew,
Yeah.
yeah. That's real though. Like the hour before youth group where where you're dragging, and then once kids arrive, it's like the energy's
Oh
up, and then afterwards, I don't know about you, but like the adrenaline afterwards, I'm like
yes,
I'm ready to
yes.
go until 2 a.m. What are we doing? Like,
It is the worst roller
yep,
coaster.
yep,
The hour before youth group, I think, is like the loneliest hour of my
yeah,
week.
yeah, same,
It's so low. I'm so low. I have such little energy. And then being an extrovert, like once everybody gets in the room, it's like boom. And then yeah, and then it's like by the time it's fully kicked in, everyone's left, and I'm like, okay, what do we do now?
yeah. I would be interested for those who are listening in the chat, in the comments later when you listen, if others feel the same, that roller coaster
Oh
on a
yeah.
Wednesday or
Do you
whenever
guys
you guys
feel
have
that?
a youth
Do
group.
you feel that roller coaster?
Woo. Yeah. and feel the actual age that you are. Yeah. That, but I tell people
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know how old you are? Like,
Yeah.
do you really know how old you are?
Yeah.
Any goofy fun stories from last night other than our hijinks?
Let's see. Any
We played a game last night. Have you ever played crowd charades?
yes.
Yeah.
Download Youth
So if you don't
Ministry?
if of course, yeah, first of all,
Oh yeah.
plug download Youth Ministry. If you don't have it, get it.
Yep.
No, but crowd charades is where you put something up on the screen and one kid stands in front of the screen and everybody else acts out what they try to get the one person to guess, and everybody else is the actor instead of one person acting and everybody else trying to guess. It was horrifying. It was horrifying because the one kid standing in the stage, the screen's behind him, and then the kids in their vehemence as they get more and more animated and excited, they just keep moving closer to the person that's trying. And it's 30 kids moving toward one, and they just get closer, and it's like, and
Yeah.
then they're trying to get their attention, and they're just like clapping like this in front of the person's face, like, look at me, look at me. And I was like, this, and they can't talk and they can't make noises. So this is like when you're talking to somebody, this is the equivalent of you encounter somebody that doesn't speak the same language as you. And the way you adapt is you just say it slower and louder
Mm-hmm.
in your same language. Like
Yeah.
it was the visual representation of like, hi, how you doing? My name is Matt. Oh, you don't speak English. My name is Matt. And like getting in the person's face. And like we kept
Okay.
having to like push him back. It was like a zombie movie. It was horrifying.
Yeah. Okay. So when we've played that game, same thing. They move closer to the person. So it's like, all right, guys. But yeah, that is a fun game. But it
You have to
is
put up like a
horrifying.
barricade.
Yeah. Seriously,
Yeah, it
you need
gets
to block
scary. It
them
gets
on the
scary.
street. Yeah. Oh man, we
Not the words, not what. Yeah, go ahead.
it's just yeah, we had a friendsgiving last night and it was the first one we've done with middle school.
Oh, that's
And
fun.
oh, we had good food. I mean, mashed potato bar, mac and cheese, sliders, and it's the simple things in life. Literally, when I announced it last week, you would have thought they won $1 million. They were like, they're just going crazy. So last night was really fun in that way to just have something other than the cheap pizza that is our
Nice,
go-to. But
nice.
fill them up on cookies and sweets. And but we played a lot of screen games from Download Youth Ministry as well.
Yeah,
um Thanksgiving edition stuff, Four Corners, trivia, all that good stuff that they
yeah.
just.
One of my favorite. I should put. I don't know where I got them from. I got to find them again. Uh, if you can find canceling buzzers,
Ooh, I don't know
if
this
you can
one.
find canceling buzzers, that is such a smart thing to buy for your youth group because it may cost a couple bucks, but it lets you play so many games, and then like you can pull up two kids at a time, and you usually comes with like one little buzzer that controls them, and then the two things that they slap, and if they the way that you want the canceling out so that when they hit one, the other one does. You know who got it first,
Oh,
right?
that's
And it's
smart.
not like
Yeah.
how hard. Oh, and it's so much fun, and I think that those kinds of games, like I love playing games like dodgeball or any variation of that or anything like physical, but
Hmm.
your kids don't all like that. Not all
Yeah.
your kids are athletic. And
Hmm.
so if you can make your game time be that kind of game for some people and then these other kind of less physical but just as silly. I think my all-time favorite from Download Youth Ministry is, and this is old, it came out a long time ago, but it was Taylor Swift or Lamentations.
Oh, that one's good.
Hey,
That
that
is
was just the
classic.
best. You
Yep.
put up a lyric and it's like, okay, is this from the book of, is this a lamentation or is this a Taylor Swift lyric? And it's harder than you think.
It is. It is. It's
And li-
really harder. Yeah. Yep. For
yeah,
sure.
and they have all different kinds, but that kind of stuff. And you can play that. You can bring up two contestants, like you can do it that way.
Yep.
You can play with boys versus girls, or sometimes I even just play some of those games or just yell it out, just
Yeah.
chaos.
Yeah.
Let them scream from the seats and see whoever gets it first, and just and there's no points, and they don't seem to care.
Yeah. Matt,
Uh,
do your students like when like leaders do around where it's just leaders and then you guys are on stage like volunteers and stuff? Cuz like my kids go wild for that stuff when they see the volunteers up there competing against one another with some of these games and
that's interesting. I always kind of reserved that for like when we did our retreats together.
yeah, okay. Yep.
Like
When
I
we did
liked that
Nords.
for the retreats, but sometimes we would do it like we have done stuff where it's like a round,
Yep.
maybe kids against the leaders. Like
Oh, I like that. We haven't done it like
we
that.
did. I don't. Again, if I'm repeating myself, I am sorry, but we had a night where we had sumo wrestler gear.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah. And
With
so it was like two middle schoolers would go in the ring and they'd put on the sumo suits. Just think of that episode from The Office,
yep.
and they would just collide, and whoever fell backwards basically into this giant padded thing we had made. And I was like, I want to go in against two middle schoolers.
Yep.
So I went in. I don't need a sumo outfit. I come pre sumo, and these two kids, man, they just came running at me. And I just grabbed them by the collar and just banged them into it. Bumped their
Watch,
giant sumo suits into each other, and they just
watch
fell
them
back.
go. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
old school Superman style. Yeah,
Oh
it
my
was
goodness.
great.
That's really fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Well,
all those
speaking
things.
of like the fact that you and I did retreats together,
Yeah.
uh, I thought it would be really cool if our listeners, watchers, viewers, people that hang out with us. Oh, and before, by the way, David, our friend David, and our regarding our question about do you forget how old you are? And does it hurt? He said yes to all the above.
Yep. Okay. Not the only
So
one.
that's our buddy David. Great
Yep.
I'm so glad you're here with us, David. Thank you. I thought it'd be cool if you could kind of walk us through like your career, really. I mean, really your career. What was like your first steps into youth ministry? What did that look like? How did you get involved? How did
Yeah.
that evolve? And
Right.
what are some of the places you've been? Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
How did this all start for you?
Yeah. It all started actually interning in Miami. So I interned for a summer in Miami at a inner city ministry there at Will Really Homestead, which is right outside Miami. My roommate in college knew the director, and um, so that's kind of how it all started. I had kind of this desire and interest to um, just share Jesus with teenagers. I became a Christian when I was 18 years old. And so it's kind of that mountaintop fire experience where you're like, I want to tell everybody about Jesus. And so I knew I wanted to do that with the next generation. And so that was really stepping in to ministry for the first time, not really knowing if I would love it or not, but I absolutely loved it. And it didn't take
So
long.
where were you before you came to Miami?
Yeah, I was in college at Belhaven University in Mississippi. And so when I became a Christian at 18, I knew I wanted to learn more about the Bible. And so that's what I went to school for, was biblical studies. And so I was in Mississippi, and so yeah, I loved it, and that's where God really, I sensed the call from the Lord to do youth ministry full time, or like want to go into that after college. And I actually wanted to move to Miami. I'm like, that's it. I'm quitting college. I'm gonna live in Miami and do this full time. Um,
After that internship.
oh yeah, I was all in. But I didn't do that. I didn't quit college. I finished college, and when I got back to Mississippi, I was in a youth ministry class. Shout out to Steve Lanier, one of my favorite human beings on this planet. And he taught that class. He was on staff at Redeemer Church in Jackson, Mississippi. And I
Well,
loved
wait,
that.
I'm gonna pause you for a second. I'm gonna
Yeah.
pause. Well, I want to go back to Steve, okay? But I want to
Yeah.
pause you for a second. Do you know that that's exactly what happened to me?
Really? Yeah. What was your
So
experience?
so I became a Christian when I was 17,
Okay.
and in a youth ministry, and I would help out after I graduated,
Yeah.
and I would help out with the middle school, and I would kind of come into the office and just help the youth pastor, and that's the guy I prayed with to accept Christ, Michael Saunders.
Okay.
And he left Hammond, Indiana, and he moved to Miami. And he was a youth pastor in Miami. So my first internship was after my junior year, the summer of my junior year. I went down to Miami and interned at the church that he was the youth pastor at.
Wow. Okay. So Miami, that's where it all begins. Miami, everybody.
That's nuts. That's so cool.
Yeah. And
So
then
so
you sensed a call after that internship? Or what do
no,
you
I would
mean?
say that was before, because I was actually studying youth ministry
Okay.
before I did that.
Okay.
And I had already started to transition from, well, I mean, I went to Covenant,
Okay. Yeah.
and because I had already transitioned from the idea of wanting to do law enforcement to doing ministry.
Hmm.
So I was already on that process, but like yeah, and I went down for a 3-month internship. I ended up staying a year, and then I would end up spending 20 years in Miami.
Yeah.
So yeah. So okay, so now you do the internship, you don't drop out of school.
No.
Good job.
Yeah. My parents would have
And
killed
you go
me.
back to youth medic, and Steve is teaching the class.
Yeah. He's teaching the class. And, it again, it's just really another God moment. But I get a call from the youth pastor at Redeemer, and he's like, "Hey, we're looking for a summer intern. Would you be interested in interning with us?" And I'm like, "Absolutely," because kind of at that point, I don't know. This was my experience in college. Like, I wanted to be involved in the church and serve, but I think for me, I didn't really know like my place yet in the church, and how
Mm,
to go about that. So I don't, I don't want to assume that's how it is for college students, but that was just kind of my experience. Like, I want to serve, but I don't know like who to talk to. And so I get this phone call, and it was really an answer to prayer. And so I interned with the youth group for that summer. And the Redeemer Church is multi ethnic in Jackson, Mississippi. So we had a lot of students who lived in the neighborhood behind the church, which was low income. And so we had a lot of kids who would just walk up to the church every week. And then we had kids who grew up in the church. So I really loved that dynamic. And,
yeah.
it's just, it was awesome. And then after the summer, Ryan Dean, who I can't, thank enough. A lot of how I do ministry and why I do ministry was because of some of the early formation there in the early years. And so, Matt, we all have those people who really
Yeah.
took the time to formation and teach us and mentor us. Who was that person for you when you were starting out?
Oh yeah. So, it was my youth pastor who I mean, I was so poorly behaved when I first came to youth group. He was like looking at the friends that brought me and was just like shaking his
Yeah.
head, you know.
Yeah.
But then, we had a lock in, and I responded to the gospel, and I came and I prayed with him. And so when I
Mhm.
went to him and said, and it was, it felt like a confession. It
Yeah.
felt like I was saying something, like I had done something wrong. But
Mhm.
I was like, I don't know how much I believe this, but like, I think God's calling me to be a pastor. And it
Yeah.
just, I couldn't believe the words coming out of my mouth.
Yeah.
And and I thought this guy is going to be like, and actually, maybe I was kind of hoping he would be like, look at me and divine and go, no, you're good. We
Yeah.
don't need you. Like,
Yeah.
I may have been trying to put that on him so he would let me off the hook.
Yeah.
No, but he goes, okay, great. Let's start testing it.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, so he would look for opportunities to put me in front of people and have me do
Mhm.
different things. And like read scripture in the service or do that. We used
Yeah.
to do children's sermons. And like, that's the very first thing I think I remember. The first time I've talked in front of people, I think, was doing a children's sermon on David and Goliath,
Yeah.
for 2 or 3 minutes in the service. And so he was, if I were to categorize something, I would say he was like my on ramp. He was like
Yeah.
the sign that said, like, you can take this exit and you can get off and I wasn't going down a bad or wrong path, but it was like,
Right.
hey, there is a way,
Yeah.
right? And
Mhm.
then I would say when I got to Covenant, it was and it was to study youth ministry in particular, which is what I wanted to do. Um, my mentor, who would become my hero, who was my professor in youth ministry, his name was Len Teague. He was like a booster rocket. Like, he was, like that, the amount of force that it took to get the rocket out of the atmosphere, you know.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, and to this day is who I want to be when I grow up, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
I
yeah.
love I I've heard you talk about him, and I I love when you talk about him. And I think there are some others on the team who know him or who knew him, and it's just like, oh man, those people who like him, like a Ryan Dean, who man, they're incredible, who help us kind of sift out our calling and sift out, um, yeah, help us along the way. Um,
So, if you were at the conference, we had
yeah.
Joe Novenson speak, and Joe Novenson was the pastor over Len Teague at Lookout Mountain Pres.
Hmm.
And we went out to dinner. There was a bunch of us, and we went out to dinner after the conference that night. And it's just me and Joe at the end of the table. And he looks at me and he goes, I can't. I wish I could do a Joe Novenson impression. I
Yeah.
just like, if I wish I could do his voice, because it's just like quiet, gentle
Yeah.
love,
Yeah.
hugging you. He doesn't have a British accent. I don't know why that's not. It's just like that's just. He just goes, Matt. Do you know what Len would think about all of this? And I was like, don't you make me cry in this restaurant in
Yeah.
the middle of Maryland. Don't you do
Yeah.
it. And he was just talking about how he said it's about time.
Mm,
It wasn't even that he would love it. He goes, it's about time that the PCA is doing this.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, Joe just ripped my heart out. thunk, thunk,
Yeah.
thunk, thunk.
Yep.
Yeah. So you wrap up when was the internship in Redeemer? After college or junior, senior year,
It
summer?
was junior senior year. And a summer internship turned into a full time. And it was towards when I was about to get ready to graduate. It was actually on the drive back home from RYM, which is Reformed Youth Ministries. They put on great conferences for middle and high school students, and we're on our way home, and in Mobile, if you know, they're on that long bridge, and we're stopped in traffic, and Ryan Dean's like, "Hey, would you want this to be a full-time job? Would you, and I'm like,
Wow.
absolutely. And
Wait,
there was
wait,
no
wait.
position
He
yet.
asked you on the way back from a camp? Hang on.
Yeah. Yep.
That's dirty pool. That's dirty.
Yeah. Yeah.
He didn't ask you when you were turning in an expense report.
Nope.
No.
Nope. For a week long at RYM. And yeah.
He got the hook in you, and he's like,
Right. Gotcha. Yeah. And I was like, yes, absolutely. So they created the position, and I was on staff and with the internship at Redeemer for 8 years. And there's something about when you see kids like the first class that comes through where it's like them in 6th grade and you see them graduate high school.
Oh man.
It's like this. I mean,
man.
it's incredible. It's like, wow, I'm really that old, but also too, just to see that class. I'm like, wow, I didn't think I was that old. But yeah.
There's something magic about when you get to 7 years.
Yeah.
And you've taken a whole, like, through the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then every year after 7, it's that again. Like you're it almost is like it skyrockets exponentially, right? Once you kind of make that amount of time. Yeah, that's incredible. So so again, I think this is funny. Lara, who is the senior pastor when you were at Redeemer?
Okay, Mike Campbell, who Matt, senior pastor,
who I got to work for 9 years at Old Color. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Lara, this is weird. This is so wild. Our trajectories.
I know.
That's crazy.
And and Mike Campbell was another person who really, as a new believer, sitting under his preaching for the amount of time that I did, and also very formative years for me. So,
and he's got to be top 10.
Oh yeah,
preachers in the PCA.
Yeah,
top 10, easy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, definitely has the gift of preaching. You have those who.
So
preach.
Tell me, what was? Yeah. in the at Redeemer, what was your position? What was your title?
Yeah, so I was the assistant director of student ministry.
Okay.
Yep.
So was it? His name was Ryan. Was it Ryan?
Yep, Ryan Dean. And then
so Ryan Dean, he was the youth sole youth director.
Yes, and then he left to take a call in Clarksdale, Mississippi. And so that whole transition, so I was interim director for a few months, and then they brought on another guy who just absolutely love. And so that, made it through the COVID years, or through the beginning stages of COVID. Man, that was it's interesting. I was thinking about this the other day. I realized how much of my identity I had put into ministry, and then into a program. And then when we could no longer do a program, it was like, who am I without this program and without youth ministry? And so I was kind of having an identity crisis within that. But what came out of that was just, okay, getting into youth ministry because of the relationships, and just so, walking with students and just having it be a little bit different, while also at the same time, I felt like youth ministry had a shelf life for me. And so I really it was.
Sorry. I'm like,
wait, what?
No, I just, because you're so great and you're such a pro, and you've put in a lot longer time than most people realize. And so that you talking about you having a shelf life, I should have been put on the shelf a long time ago.
No, we need, oh man. So, I think that it's normal for, youth leaders and pastors to get to the point where it's kind of like, am I too old for this now? Like, do I even enjoy this? And so that's where I was. And I felt like I had hit the ceiling a little bit at in Mississippi and Redeemer. And so I decided to start looking for other positions and to do a little bit more of the inner city work that I had done in or that I did in Miami. And so I moved to Dallas to do inner city work, but not with kids at the time, but with adults. And yeah, so that was very different. It was a parachurch ministry. I was a little burnt out with just church in general, if I'm going to be
Mm-hmm.
honest. And so I was
Yeah.
like, I don't want to work at the church, you know. So there was a lot of like a lot going on there. But Matt, for you, um, you know, after where did you go after you graduated Covenant? You were in Miami. Um, how did what was your first ministry job outside of when you graduated?
Okay, so
Mhm.
I did not graduate from Covenant.
Okay.
I flunked out of Covenant.
Okay.
So prior to going to Miami, I went through a depression and
Okay.
I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't do anything. Um and ironically, that is not a strong academic strategy. Uh
Yeah.
staying in bed and not doing anything. So I lost all my scholarships. I flunked that semester and I couldn't come back.
Hmm.
Um or maybe I was on probation. I don't remember, but all for all practicality, I couldn't go back. So I went down to do this internship, and I didn't know what I was going to do next.
Yeah.
And that's also where I met my wife. She was an intern as well. We had interacted at Covenant, but we weren't friends. We didn't know each other. She was the RA of my youth pastor's daughter. So
Okay.
they had a friendship, and she had visited Miami and she had met my old youth pastor, and he invited her to come down and he invited me to come down. So we did a summer there, and that's where we met and fell in love. But they actually wanted me to stay, but they didn't have a job for me. So
Okay.
that's my favorite. There's the old Popeye cartoons had a character named Wimpy, and Wimpy would always say, "I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today."
Hmm.
That was his like line. And I would like that's the church. The church always wants to hire people and never has money for it. So
Yeah.
they came up with this idea that I would be the parking lot attendant slash security guard for the day school, and that I would help out with the youth. So they gave me a job that had nothing to do with youth ministry, but it didn't take that long, and somebody put me up. And
Yeah.
so I lived at somebody's house, a couple different houses actually, and I'd stand in the Miami heat and made sure people that drove really fancy cars didn't back into each other,
Yeah.
and then I would do youth ministry all night. So that turned into over a year.
Hmm.
So we did that, and Jen stayed in town and she got another job, and we lived in Miami and worked and did youth ministry to the best of our ability. And absolutely just loved it. And then so we were there for like a year, or a little over a year
Yeah.
as interns. And then it was time for us to move on. And so I went and got a job back at Covenant, ironically. And Jen went back to Maryland, and we were long distance. And then we had this is more about our marriage, but like we had this stupid plan of like, we're going to do all this schooling, and then like, she's going to do her master's, and then I'm going to go back and finish my bachelor's, and then we'll get married. And it was going to be like years. And we
Yeah.
just said, I said, I don't want to wait years to be married to you. And so
Right.
we kind of threw caution to the wind, and we got married. And then she came to work at Covenant. So she was full-time at Covenant, and I was full-time at Covenant for a year. And we were married for a full year together. And it was so great because Len Teague would always recommend that if you have volunteers that get married, give them a year off.
Hmm.
It's not like playing in the worship team. It's not like serving in different ministries. It's so relational. It's so time consuming. Give them a year off to just be, and that's what Jen and I had. And we
Hmm.
had a year off to like where we worked like 9 to 5 jobs, went home every day for lunch, had an hour. We lived 5 minutes from campus. We'd go home, make our lunch, have an hour together, go back to work. She worked in the library. I'd stop in the library all the time. My professors were like, "You were never in here before. Why are you here now?" Yeah. And I
Oh,
was like, "Well, the cute blonde that works here."
right.
And then I was called to um, come back to Miami to the same church
Hmm.
to be the new youth director. So they had another youth director in between. My guy moved on to administration. He became the executive pastor. They hired somebody else. He kind of crashed and burned, and the youth group was hurting. So they needed someone to come in that already knew the kids,
Yeah.
already knew Miami. Um, it was damage control,
Hmm.
and they wanted somebody that could hit the ground running. And we went down there, and it was, I mean, then we were there for 8.5 years
Wow.
as a director. Yeah, so it was really wonderful to work to be an intern somewhere and then come back and be the director there. That was a great, unique experience. But it was a hard lesson because I went from being like when you're an intern, you're like an older sibling,
Yeah. It's a great way to put it.
right?
Yeah.
And then now I'm actually like the man.
Hmm.
And that was a hard transition
Yeah.
to go through for me because I wanted to be the older sibling. I wanted to be the cool older brother the whole time. But I
Yeah.
think one of the things I learned there was to move in, and that your career as a youth pastor, you're going to play different roles. You're going to
Mhm.
be different. You're going to represent different things at different phases in your life. And that's where I slid into the dad role
Yeah.
and stopped trying to be the cool older sibling and went into, okay, I'm the dad and I'm going to make this, and we're going to, and this is what we were told when we left. The kids were like, you were like the dad, Jen was like the mom, and this was our family.
Hmm.
And that's one of the big things I learned from that phase. So that was my first, that's not my first job, I guess, as in youth ministry, but it was my first director job.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that the question I was going to ask you was, in the early years, what doing youth ministry, what are some things that you learn about yourself during just your time in Miami, the early years and
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
that transition? Because something we've talked about, or just with other youth leaders. I mean, when you start out a role, a career job in youth ministry, um, and then when you transition out to something else, maybe to another church, right? The things you've learned in that season and
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
that place, those are things that you take with you in the next, and then the next. Like, God's preparing you along the way the entire time. He's preparing you
Yeah.
for that next place. And so, in the early years, what are some things you've learned about yourself in doing ministry?
So, I think my first thought was when I said, okay, I'm just going to run youth group the same, like I'm going to just do what I did as a student, but better, whatever that
Yeah.
meant,
Hmm.
um, and then I very quickly realized, no, I need to have like a strategy for these kids for this time for this place.
Yeah.
And pretty quick, I would say like kind of like 2 weeks into this, I was like, just doing youth group isn't going to cut it.
Yeah.
Um, and then I think, and I couldn't tell you like what the slider is. It definitely jumped leaps and bounds when I went to the next place. But as a rookie,
Hmm.
I knew that I didn't know everything, but I knew that nobody was going to outwork me.
Yeah.
So to me, it was like, okay. And I mean, it was an actual motto I had. I said, whatever I don't know,
Hmm.
I will make up for with hustle.
Yeah.
And so if it just meant late nights, if it just meant working hard to figure something out, I learned how to do a lot of things. Like I taught myself how to do a lot of things that are not like youth ministry. class stuff, but like how to edit video, how to build a website, how to design print media. I just had to learn. I had zero support staff
Mhm.
or people that were gonna other people at the church that were gonna do those things for me. So okay, then I'm gonna learn how to do it. And this is what I need, you know. Um, and so I think one of the biggest things that I've tried to do as I've grown and moved from place to place is stop hustling so much and
Mm.
be smarter about what I, you know, okay, look, you can't say what I don't know, I'll make up for and hustle. You've been doing this too. You should have learned something by now.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
hustle needs, you know, when you're
right.
48, hustle can't be your primary commodity. It has
Yeah,
to be
it's like work smarter, not harder. Yeah, that's what it changes into.
well,
Yep.
you know, or just like learn and grow, like just be
Yeah,
like
learn.
a human being, right? And don't
Uh,
just like use that as an excuse, like, okay, I don't have to know anything. I'm just going to work hard. And so
right.
that's probably the biggest thing from um moving from my first director job to my second director job was
Mhm.
okay 8 year like like I think I was in my I think I had 8.5 yeah I think I was there like 10 years altogether
Okay.
as an intern and as a director at that place. So at that first church in Miami. And so
Yeah.
that was okay, you've kind of done some things, you kind of know how to do those things. We don't have to
Right.
spend that much time. But what I did find was that I would actually start to look for new things to learn. Okay, if you kind of got that in the don't stop there.
Yeah.
Let this knowledge give you freedom to get better at other things too now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In that process, how did your philosophy of ministry sort of develop within that process of you like, okay, kind of learning on the job and through just, all right, let's just do this thing experience. How did your philosophy of ministry kind of evolve out of some of these things that, and has it changed over time,
Yeah.
context that you've been in? Because that's what I've sort of found. The philosophy hasn't changed, but it has to be adapted sometimes to the context that you're in.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And I think one of the skill sets that has to be developed
Hmm.
is assessment.
Yeah.
Like you have to learn to look and like what are the questions I'm going to ask? What are the dynamics I'm going to look for so I can read where I'm at?
Yeah.
Um but I would say that for me, it's not so much that my philosophy changed, it's that it became more articulate. I think it was very instinctive and intuitive to do things a certain way.
Hmm.
And as I went from job to job, I could articulate that better or I
Yeah.
could see it better. So
Mhm.
we built a family in Miami the first time. And we had kids from every possible kind of group. And if you came to our youth group, there was no such thing as like this is the typical kid at our youth group. It
Yeah.
was a place for everybody. Okay, well that became belong,
Hmm.
which is a key part of my philosophy, like creating a place where everybody belongs. Um, and then when I went to Maryland and started working with these kids, totally different contexts, totally different needs and desires, but they lacked the same ability to be together.
Yeah.
And that became okay, well I'm going to teach them how to be together.
Hmm.
And I remember, and I know our producer Katie is listening right now. Uh I'm blanking on the names. I can look at the two sisters. Uh, no, not Leah and Rachel, Michelle, the Springer girls, Springers. Yeah, Julia and Michelle. I remember like so what happened was this girl named Leah called me one time and she said, "Matt, we would all like to go see this movie. Can you arrange that?" And I said, "No." And she was like, "What?" And I said, "You don't need me to go see a movie." I
Yeah.
said, "I'll go. I want to go see the movie with you guys." But I was like, "Just like, you don't need my blessing. You don't need my permission." And she's like, "Really? We can do that?" I was like, "Yeah, you can do that."
You can do
And
it.
they just arranged to go see a movie, and I tagged along. And then it was kind of like this thing opened up, and I remember going to go see a kid's play, and Julia Springer had already picked. She was in line like 5 people ahead of me and my wife, and she
Huh.
had picked up 4 or 5 other kids to go see these other kids play. And I was like, okay, bingo, there we
Yep.
go. And what I learned there was that you need to empower the kids
Yeah.
to build the ministry. Like, you have to give them a vision
Yeah.
and a picture and even some steps to take on how to build it, and they
Mhm.
will.
Yeah.
And that's something that, like, it doesn't matter how welcoming you are. It doesn't matter how nice you are to kids. If the
Mhm.
group doesn't think like that,
Yeah.
you're not going to have a welcoming youth ministry.
Yeah. It's that's something what you're saying is what I'm learning now to do. Like the
Mm.
empowering students, like fine tuning that and actually like implementing it of like, yeah, you can be nice or have a welcoming environment, but that is something the past 3 years that has just been, oh, empowering the students to do this, giving them a vision, giving them steps. Um, yeah. So,
So you go to Dallas and you're in this parachurch. You're kind of burned
yeah.
out. You go to this parachurch ministry.
Hmm.
What was that like, and what was your how did that contribute to your evolution?
Yeah. Well, I was a mentor coordinator there. So my role was working with adults at first. So my role was to um, we had adults from all over DFW, Christian adults within the churches around the area who wanted to mentor a youth in the inner city. And so my role was to match those mentors with the kids in our program that we had. And so I loved that part of it, talking about assessing and kind of just doing that and trying to find the best matches. But within like the first 2 months, the director of the mentoring program turned to myself and my coworker, and she was like, "Oh, hey, by the way, you guys are going to go to South Dallas and start a mentoring program there and just really start partnering and connecting with Section 8 housing and the programs that they have within that with the kids in those communities." And I'm like, "What? Like, what in the world are we about to do?" So my coworker and I, that's what we started doing. And so I think there, now looking back, taught me how to build a program. Um, I kind of always just kind of stepped into a program that was already structured, that was already
Oh
done.
yeah. Okay.
And
Yeah.
so I'm like, oh, someone else has built this and there's structure to this. Oh, wait, now we're the people who are having to do that and like
Wow.
doing curriculum and these kids were tough. It was third through fourth grade and they were tough. And my coworker and I constantly going back to the drawing board of what what's curriculum that we can use that's going to be good. Well, there really wasn't a whole lot out there. With
What's gonna be good? Oh,
Oh, wait,
nothing.
nothing. With the context, it was just like, oh my gosh. I think I learned the importance of how discipline leads to discipleship, and it's supposed to lead to discipleship. So there was a lot of disciplining in that time, but just the conversations that led to it, and just that reminder, like, okay, God disciplines us because he loves us. And so I think just learning how to do that better. I still don't do it well. But I had to learn that.
Mm.
And the discipleship opportunities that those create, or can create within discipline. So I learned how to, and still learning how to kind of structure a program is what I learned in
Okay,
Dallas.
excellent. So that leads me to a not super personal, but super personality question, I guess.
Yeah.
So what if there's two ends of the spectrum? If this end of the spectrum is I want to walk in and everything's established and I'm going to keep things going, and this end of the spectrum is like South Dallas, there's nothing there. What are you, a builder or are you a crank turner? Like where are you on the spectrum? Like where do you lean?
Oh, I think it depends. I've always seen myself as kind of the crank turner, like let me just kind of keep this thing going and maintain it and sustain it. But I think with South Dallas, I'm like, okay, here's a gift set that is kind of being deployed. I'm like, oh, okay. I really not I enjoy it. And so and I never would have thought I would have said that. I think my time here at Spanish River Church, I've kind of had to do a little bit of both. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
when the youth pastor left, it was kind of like I had a mentor of mine say, Laura, your job right now is just to maintain this and just sustain it. And I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
okay. But now it's at the point, like through it, it's like building upon it. And that's what's happened. And so it's just really kind of fun and neat to see just different gifts that the Lord, is, I don't know, that I just thought maybe I didn't have, or maybe not the confidence there, but other people speaking into that. So yeah, I would say I like to build. After Dallas, I'm like, I want to be a director. I want to build things now.
let's go, game on. Yeah, no, I
So,
definitely I
what
think
about
that
you?
one of our goals is to create stability, right?
Yeah.
And create dependability, trust, right?
Hmm.
And the better you dial in your program, the more that people can know what to expect, builds trust, gets involvement, right? So that there is a tremendous value to that. I I felt like I had things pretty dialed in Miami when I feel like God was calling me to go somewhere else. And so now I'm in a place where I'm kind of rebuilding, and I love that. But it is a tension. I feel this tension between what is and what could be. And
Yeah.
I want to create it and build it, but I want it to be stable too. But then at the same time, there's this other part of it where it's like I'm always looking at it and I'm never content, or not content. I take That's not the right word. I'm never satisfied. Like we can always do it better. We can always, and times change and kids
Yep.
change. So again, that go back to that assessment
Yep.
skill set. We kind of always need to be like scanning the horizon
Right.
and be like, it does this still meet this need? Like the needs don't change, but maybe the way we do it does.
Yeah.
Um, and it's really great to be in a field where we get to have ideas and do and seize moments and take opportunity. I remember, this is so dumb, but like some of the crazier things I've done in the past that really hit the moment was I created a nightclub for middle schoolers at our church.
Yeah.
It didn't last forever, but it was a moment, and it was
Yeah.
a tactic, a strategy that worked at a time and a place. We At one point we had a poker tournament. Poker was like so huge for a while,
Yeah.
and we did this poker tournament, and we devised a way to you could win by playing cards the best, but you got a trophy, but you could win the best prize, which I think was whatever the Apple product at the time was, some version of
Hmm.
the iPod, iPad, whatever. Um, by being the most enjoyable to play with. We created a system to do that. So it
Yeah.
wasn't about money.
Right.
Um, but I don't know that I would do those things today. Like
Yeah.
or I don't know that I would do those things here. So there is this like constant evolution. So it's this
Mhm.
to me, that's me. I'm a builder. I'd rather build it than turn the crank. If you knew what you wanted and you knew everything is running great and you had this guy for 16 years and you want everything to stay the same, I'm not the guy to follow that guy.
Right.
Um, yeah, but it's again, it's fascinating to hear that you like got thrown into the deep end basically,
Yeah.
which I feel like has been most of my training has
Yeah.
been being thrown into the deep
I
end.
went into the deep
And you're
end.
like, yeah, I want to build. I want to. So
Yeah.
how long were you in Dallas?
I was in Dallas for 2 years. And then from there, moved to South Florida at Spanish River Church as the middle school coordinator. And that has been, like I said, it's been, yes, kind of now building the middle school program. And I'm how I work is like one brick at a time. And so maybe that brick is worship. And it's like, that's the focus
Mm,
that, okay, how do we make this better? How do we make worship better? How do we community? What are ways? So I kind of take brick by brick and build upon that. And so it's a little slower sometimes. It's, what's the word? Maybe a little methodical. Is that the right word? Maybe not. I don't know.
yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Um, so when I build, I'm a very slow builder. And because I overthink everything. So maybe that's part of it. But but it's been fun. And I was just having a conversation with someone today at coffee of just seeing, even last night, just looking around, looking at a volunteer team, the kids who are there enjoying themselves, truly living in answered prayer. Like, these were prayers that, I mean, sometimes pleading with the Lord, like begging him with certain, and it's like, wow, to see it unfold is just, it's all him. And I think
Hmm.
in those
Hmm.
moments where the night can be chaotic, or um, it was just a reminder, like, no, this is answered prayer. And leaning on that and relying on him in that building process of, we do it because of him, and to share him
Yeah.
with teenagers. um yeah, so that's been really fun. And I think too, like, some, going back to what you were saying, I think something um that I've had to learn throughout the years with assessing and building and learning to create and sustain things is learning to let go of things that maybe don't work anymore. That can be a hard thing, where it's like, well, we've always done this. Of course it's going to. And I think, like, there are times where, like, oh, that event that we used to do, because things are changing, maybe it's not the right event to do anymore, right? Or maybe
Mm,
this.
yeah. Yeah.
And so I've had to learn to let go of things that I thought were so part of the vision. And so that can be a hard thing. And I think sometimes a hard thing to get leadership or even volunteers on board, like, nah, actually this isn't
Mm,
going to work anymore. Um
yeah.
so that's what I'm having to learn, is letting go of maybe some of those earlier um ideas that I had. Um
And so how long have you been at that's a really good word. How long have you been at Spanish River?
Going on 3 years in February. And it feels like I've been
Wow.
here a lot longer.
It
um
does. It does. Because
I
because we had the pleasure of working
Yes.
together on
Yep.
camps and retreats, and so I
Yep.
to me it feel and again this is chronodysmorphia. I feel like we
Yep.
were doing it forever, you
Yep.
know?
Yep.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah.
Well, Laura, thank you very much for letting us kind of explore that. And I think the point is, uh, if you're listening or watching, like, uh, my daughter said it best this morning in the drive-in. I was talking about what we were going to talk about. She goes, "Yeah, there's no such thing as the best youth pastor.
Mm,
There's no such thing. Like that doesn't exist.
no.
It's something that's built and grown over time And I think it's more about persistence and resilience than it is like, and all of us that have been, if we know what we're talking about, it was hard earned
Yeah.
over many mistakes
Yeah.
and different contexts, and persevering and being
Mm.
formed and forged by this stuff, and growing and evolving. And really, I think that's, and Laura, I don't think I'm speaking out of turn for you, but I do think
Mhm.
I'm speaking for everyone on our team when we say, like, that's why we want to come alongside everyone, and we want you to be a part of our conversation here. We want
Yep.
you to participate in the certification so that we can pass on this stuff that we've learned the hard way to you, and we want to come to the conference so we can be in relationship together. And that's because we want to equip, empower, and encourage you guys in
Mhm.
doing this. And I mean, like, listen, I remember when I was in college, there was a professor that was tall and ugly and had been a bachelor for 1,000 years, and then he got married, and all of us were like, "There's hope for me."
There's
Uh, and I like if you think you're having a hard time, just remember this moron's still here doing it. So I
yeah,
let me.
same, same. We're still
There's
here.
hope for
There's
you if we
hope.
if we yeah,
Yeah.
if we can do it, you can do it. So,
Yeah.
Laura,
And I
thank you very much. I'm gonna yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead and pray. I know I one last thing that I would just say to us and to them is just be faithful in the ordinary. Um, keep
Mm.
showing up.
Actually, would you mind closing us in prayer? You're our
Yeah.
Gandalf.
Oh,
Yeah, thanks.
I'll do it. Um, dear Heavenly Father, what it's just amazing that we get to do this and to partner with you in kingdom work. And Lord, I just thank you for every youth leader, youth pastor who who is showing up. They're loving students, and I pray especially for those who are tired and who maybe feel like what they're doing isn't making a difference. But Lord, I pray for them specifically, Lord, that you would give them the strength, and Lord, that you would just surround them with your love and grace. And Lord, by your Spirit, help us to be faithful in the ordinary. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Laura. Thank you,
Yes,
Katie.
thank you, Matt.
Thank you, guys.